Well, hello, good afternoon, or maybe it's morning, not sure. My name is Cal Schuyler, and I wanted to say, hope you're having a good day out there, or maybe you're all hungover, and maybe you're sweating and needing a drink if you haven't started already. Normally, I'd have one at 7 o'clock in the morning, as soon as I got out of bed. Or maybe you got a DUI this week, or wrecked your car, hope nobody got hurt. But if any of those things are happening or did happen to you, I'd like to say thank you for doing that, because that helps me stay sober. That sounds kind of cruel, but that's the way it is with alcoholism. It's a beautiful day here up near Lake Erie, and just wanted to get this video made. And so that's what I'm trying to do here today. Hope I can't see the screen. It's so sunny out here. And not only that, I had to go to the doctor a couple days ago and get a shot in this eye. A needle shot, which was not painful, but it's for macular degeneration, which is, I have had it for quite a while. Among other things, had liver transplant, cancer 8 years ago on the transplant. So yeah, I've been through some stuff, but I feel good and I'm blessed, and I thank God that I am blessed. Now, we won't mention the word God here too much, because a lot of you out there that are suffering alcoholics, and I know exactly what that's like. I spent a lot of years suffering from this disease. It's no fun. And I mean, you got to keep drinking to keep your sanity almost, even though you're actually insane during the whole process. But yeah, I know what it's like. It's miserable. I used to sober up, kind of detox myself, lay in bed, get some sort of downer to put me to sleep, try and sleep for a while, get up, have maybe one beer, back to bed, and it would take me 2-3 days, and I would basically feel pretty good. Now, that was me, and I drank, almost a case of beer a day, plus little Jim Beam. Always had that sitting there on the side in case I wanted to, get a little snort, you might say. So kind of enjoyed that, and lost my train of thought. But anyway, I always reason I say almost a case is because I have 22 beers, buy a case a day plus an 18-pack. I'd keep that in reserve just in case. But when I woke up in the morning, I might not remember anything at all. I never did. I blacked out every night, but I always knew whether or not there was a beer in that refrigerator, because I was going to need it. And I'd have usually 2 in there, which means I drank 22 beers the day before. And I was always coherent when I drank. Well, I shouldn't say that. I was an asshole, probably. Obnoxious is really the word for it. I was obnoxious. I don't know how people put up with me, but they did. Mary stayed with me, oh God, for years and years and years, still with me. I don't know how she put up with it, but she did. And took care of me, really. Kept me alive, probably. So I basically had to quit for health reasons. And you will either die if you're an alcoholic, and I am not one to judge. You have to figure that out for yourself. Not hard to figure out. You probably already know if you are or not. Try going to the bar every day and have 1 beer and leave. That'll tell you the story right there. If you could do that, well, more power to you. But yeah, no doubt I was born an alcoholic. I remember the first time I got my hands on alcohol alone with a friend. Of course, I wasn't alone if I was with a friend, but we stole his father's jug of wine, and we went out crawling around through the woods and weeds in the neighborhood, and I remember blacking out, and so I was born that way, and it runs in my family too. Now, you can also become an alcoholic through practice, they say. I don't know. I did it either way because I was a musician all my life. Well, I did a few other jobs too, but music was my job. Of course, I'm around booze, around cigarettes, smoke. Now my lungs are shot, can't breathe. I mean, I can breathe okay. I'm not on oxygen, but I just can't carry anything too far. 5-gallon bucket of water. I won't be going too far with that without being out of breath. Have to sit down. So it basically didn't ruin my health. It should have killed me. Wasn't for the liver transplant, I'd probably more than likely be dead. Or maybe not. Maybe I would have struggled through with what I had left. But that happened 8 years ago. So I've had no problem with that liver. Although then you got to take pills every day. And but I'm 70 years old. And who would have thought that I would make it this far? So if you're struggling, you know, losing your house, losing your home, losing your job, you know, messing up your family life with your children if you have some. I never did. And it's a good thing too, because I don't know what kind of father I would have been. I had a good father. I came from a good family. Raised in a Catholic school. Got out of there though. Basically, they told me not to come back after the 7th grade. I was rebellious. Did not like authority. And but good grades. Alcoholics are, for the most part, normally very smart people. So congratulations. That's one good thing we have going for us. We can fix anything. A lot of us are real good at our jobs. We seem to be able to fix everything but ourselves. And a lot of us do, a lot of us do work and do a good job. And they're called functioning alcoholics. People that go to work every day and they make it, you know. They come home and they'll have dive into the alcohol and normally drink till they go to sleep or pass out or whatever. But that's up to you, like I say, to judge if you have a problem with alcohol. You may or you may not. There's drunks, there's alcoholics. Like I say, alcoholism is a disease, and you can't beat it unless you get help, and you basically have to totally abstain from it, total abstinence from alcohol, which is a hard word to swallow because, or a couple words, because people will say, I can't imagine, you know, not drinking for the rest of my life. You know, after all your years of drinking and partying and laughing and at the bar or at home or wherever you drank, whatever you did. But you can be happy without it. And you can't think about, how am I going to not drink for the rest of my life? If you think that way, you'll drive yourself nuts. That's where the slogan, one day at a time, comes in. I meet people now and then, and I'm not too anonymous with my alcoholism. I tell them, you know, I'm an alcoholic. I don't drink anymore. But early on, I remember people saying, "You quit drinking?" I said, "Yeah." I said, I was forced to go to AA through the courts from a nasty DUI down in Florida at the time, and boy, they put me through the ringer down there, counseling and everything. But as a result of that, I stayed sober for 10 years. They put me through so much hell that I didn't want to drink again. I didn't even want out of jail. They dropped my bail to $100. I had that. I could have scraped it up, but I didn't want out. because I knew what I'd do. I'd just go right back to drinking. I was afraid of the alcohol. I couldn't stop. But that's where I was at. Now, you may not be that bad. You might be just starting out your drinking career. And there's what they call, it's like an elevator. You know, there's some kids, they go to college or something. They get drunk, they have a blackout. Oh my God, it scares the hell out of them. So they go to AA, and they may never drink again. Been good for them. That's kind of an extreme case where others will keep going and going and going, and somebody may lose their wife, and that, let's say they're at the 5th floor, that happens. That's kind of bad. Lose your wife, family, so they'll decide they need help, and they'll go to not necessarily, it doesn't have to be AA. I believe in AA. Spent thousands of hours in those rooms, and I don't go anymore. I should. They tell you if you quit going to meetings, you start drinking again. That's very true too for a lot of people. In my case with the liver transplant, that's a gift from God. It gives me a real extra reason to not take another drink, because I mean, why throw that away? That would be just totally insane to me. So then there's others that go down the elevator further, and they may have to, I don't know, lose more, lose their jobs, lose their house, and they're still not ready. You know, I'm okay, they think. I'll quit. You know, I'll quit eventually. And then there's others that will go down even further. And, you know, you can only go to the basement, and after that you will die. And people die from alcoholism. They say that they are not at fault. They just seem to have been born that way. They are incapable of being honest with themselves. That's what AA says about it. There's a lot of places you can go, I mean, for treatment centers and all this stuff, and I don't want to shove AA down your throat, but it worked for me, and it works for, you know, hundreds of thousands of people out there that get cleaned up in that program, and they're happy. I mean, I remember the first AA meeting I went to. I was 21 years old. A friend of mine from work, we used to drink, and you know, we drank on the weekends. You know, get off work Friday night, and all of us go down, and we'd tie a good one on. But that was very early on, and then during the week, I don't know, I'd have a beer or two maybe. I was functioning just fine. But I said, yeah, okay, Bob, I'll go to this AA meeting with you. So I went, and I didn't really understand what AA was about, but I'd heard of it, of course. And I sat through the meeting, and when it was over, I looked over at Bob. He was sitting next to me. There was another old guy on my left, and I said to Bob, thanks for bringing me here, Bob. I said, I've learned a lot from this meeting, and I think now I can handle my drinking a lot better from what I've learned here. Man, this old man next to me spun me around. He says, you know what your fucking problem is? And I just was, you know, wide open. I didn't say nothing. He goes, you think you're different than everybody in this room, don't you? And I said, no. He says, you know what's going to happen to you? He goes, you're going to leave here. You're going to get drunk. You're going to get a DUI. Maybe you'll kill somebody or yourself. And I just got up and walked out. I mean, that guy was on my case. And there's some old timers out there in AA that are like that. Like the way I greeted you by saying thanks for doing that. I remember I went to a meeting one time. I quit drinking for a year, and it's my birthday. And why did I quit? I guess well, things were getting bad. I believe I was about 33, and I quit. And after 1 year, I said, that's it, I'm going to start drinking again. I was still playing, music and smoky old bar rooms. And I remember how different it was to play sober. It was an enlightening experience. I'm standing up there. I played solo mostly, singer, guitar player. And I just looked out and I thought, what in the hell am I doing here, Because the girls didn't look as good when I was sober. And that was why I was a musician. Money for nothing, chicks for free, And I thought, this is a dead end, I'm not really partying with everybody else. And why am I doing this? Why didn't I do something else? So it was kind of a wake-up. I shouldn't say a wake-up call. It was kind of a shock for me. But anyway, after a year, for some reason, I thought, I did my year, like I was in jail or something. I wasn't. And I started drinking. And music became fun again for me to play. I guess the word is fun. I just seem to enjoy it a little more. But I'm drifting from one subject here to another, I guess. But and I went back to drinking, of course, and drank up until that DUI in Florida. That's when I quit for 10 years. And after that 10 years, I was older, in my 40s, and I was caretaking for my mother and my aunt. And I didn't have to basically work. I did run a computer business for a while. I kind of retired from music because I opened up this computer business, and I was lucky, it worked good. But when I was caretaking for my mom and aunt, I stayed sober for almost 10 years. But for some reason, I decided to drink again. And from there, it just got worse and worse and worse, and more alcohol to get a buzz. And that's when the doctors were looking at my liver saying, your enzymes are high. I'd have that liver function test. I hated that. Your enzymes are high. And my doctor would say, cut back on the alcohol. Well, cut back was the wrong word to use with me. That was a green light for me. That was a go. Now, if he would have said, stop or you're going to die, or, I might have taken it more seriously. But I kept drinking. And pretty soon I ended up with so much scar tissue in my liver that I had to go to a specialist, or what do they call them? Endoscopy doctor. Not endoscopy, but you know what I'm trying to say. So he found these little varices coming off my esophagus that go to your liver. I didn't even know what they were. And they were swelling up because things couldn't get through my liver. It was so badly damaged from all the drinking. And he goes, if one of those little varices, there's a couple of them, I guess. He goes, if one of those pops, it's kind of like a stroke from the pressure, he goes, they're a bitch to fix. And he goes, you're going to be in trouble. And that kind of scared me. He says, we can ban them. It's like a hose clamp, I guess they put on them. And he goes, you're one step away from that. If I see you again, I'll take a measurement, which they do with a scope. I guess. I don't know. But either that or maybe an ultrasound. I'm not sure. I can't remember. It's been a long time ago. But he says, otherwise I'm going to put you on a transplant list. And that scared me when he said that. So I quit drinking. And he goes, you're going to have a ultrasound every 3 months. He says, because you can get cancer from the scar tissue in your liver. He says, you can get a tumor in there, so you have to keep getting these ultrasounds. So I did. And a couple years later, lo and behold, a little tiny tumor in my liver showed up. And I went to the Cleveland Clinic, and they looked at the images, and they said, you need a liver transplant. And holy smokes, of course, the way I was, like, all right, I'll get one, you know. And thank God I was able to get one, because livers are hard to come by. And, you know, a lot of people die waiting for them. I was fortunate to get one. But anyway, because of that, I don't know. I ended up with multiple myeloma cancer a few years later, a couple years later. I don't know where, they say they don't know where that comes from. It's like a bone cancer, or it will turn into bone cancer. I've had it for 5 years now, and so far they keep it under control. I go for chemo every Thursday. It's a light chemo. I get 3 times a month I go. It's a light chemo, and doesn't really bother me. Still got most of my hair thinned out though, but so there you go, you know, there's that. And neuropathy in my feet. My lungs are just shot. You know, I haven't smoked in probably, I don't know, 6 years, something like that, 7, but I can't figure out why my lungs are shot the way they are. They say it's from smoking, and very well may be. I mean, I did smoke a lot, and I was in them bar rooms, smoky all the time. But my lungs are clear. I don't cough, but I do have some COPD. But I'm still trying to find out, why am I so bad with the lungs? And I guess what I'm trying to say is, now my eyes, macular degeneration, you know, they don't know what causes that. Losing vision a little bit in this eye. This eye had an optic nerve stroke, which was from the medication, cancer medication, I think. I won't mention the name of it. Would want to destroy a pharmaceutical company. So, you know, where did it all start? With alcohol? Could be. I don't know. All these things that are wrong with me now. But I count my blessings, because I can walk, I can talk. I'm sitting here talking to you. I mean, I don't look like I'm dying, you know, and you know, I'm breathing, and I could hear and still see pretty good. My vision's pretty clear. A little wacko, you know. See if this new shot I got's supposed to help. And there again, it's something I'll have to go back to. But getting back to the drinking, I wish you the best. I can't call you an alcoholic. Like I say, you got to figure that out for yourself. I would like to tell you that you should, if you're having problems, it just gets worse. You know, it doesn't get better. You're going to drink more and more and more, and your tolerance builds up. You know, I could have 20 beers in me and sit down, and you might not know that I've even been drinking unless you could smell it on me. That's how high my tolerance was. I mean, I played music, never missed a note, never sang off key with all that alcohol. And of course the drugs come into, hey, let's party, you want to do some lines of Coke or something? Yeah, let's go, you know. I don't do that, but I mean, anymore. What I did when I was younger, and playing and party all night long. And I remember the first time I got the shakes. I went into a bar about 10 in the morning with a friend and ordered a draft beer and picked up the glass, and man, I just started shaking. I put it down, and the guy next to me goes, whoa. That was the first time I'd ever got the shakes. And I got them for the rest of my life after that. Unless I got 2 or 3 beers down, then I could get rid of those shakes. And real quick, I'm going to say about AA meetings and stuff. A lot of people go to them. They're forced to go through them through the courts. And they hate it, you know. They're pissed off. They hate AA. You know, well, they think they're probably different, or maybe some of them don't. They just don't like the fact that somebody's making them do something they don't want to do. Alcoholics are stubborn, and so am I. Try to get rid of that, but I lost my train of thought again. Chemo brain. But the things we do to ourselves. I had a point I wanted to make there about the. It started with the shakes. What I wanted to say is, you go to these meetings and you don't like them. You don't feel you should be there. You're mad, and you listen, sit through the meeting, and they say that a lot of guys have to sit on their hands to keep from shaking. But you listen to a speaker. Normally they'll have a speaker. And you don't have to say, walk in, I'm Bob, I'm an alcoholic. You don't have to say nothing. They will ask, they will announce, is there anybody who'd like to introduce themselves, never been to an AA meeting before, so we could become better acquainted with you. And I would suggest when you get to that point, hopefully you will, that you will, say, I'm Bob, and I'm just here to listen. You could say that, and they'll say, welcome, Bob, and listen. And you may not enjoy the meeting. You may not like the speaker. You listen to the speaker, that guy's screwed up, I never was like that. But you go again, and you gotta go more than one meeting. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. If you want to quit drinking, and your life has become unmanageable because of your alcohol, you have to come to believe that. That's step one. Then you're finally going to go to a meeting and listen to a speaker, and all of a sudden you're going to look like that. The speaker's going to grab your interest, and you're going to listen to him and listen to him, and you're going to think to yourself, and you're going to say, that's me. I'm that guy. Because we're all the same. It's just that you connected with this guy's story because he was telling your story. And there's 1,000 stories. Some of them are funny. There's a lot of laughter in AA meetings. Sounds crazy, but people are they're healthy and they feel good. Some of them, a lot of people in there sick, got cancer and stuff, but they're sober. And they feel good about themselves, and they've learned how to be happy with life in reality, you might say, being sober and sobriety. The tools that you will learn in AA, you don't have to study. It's a simple program. But the tools that you learn are so easy to put into practice in your everyday life to keep you from running for that bottle or that beer can or that whiskey or whatever. It's just amazing how easy it is. They call it KISS, keep it simple, stupid. It's not a difficult program. I'm not going to explain AA to you. I can't. It's something you got to learn for yourself. But I would suggest that you go. And you're probably not going to go right away. You may not go at all. You may die. I don't know. I hope you don't, but I pray for you. I pray for all the suffering alcoholics that are still out there. That's step 12. The final step is to pray and try and help the alcoholics that are still suffering. I don't do a lot of 12-step work. Doing this video is probably the first thing I've done for other alcoholics in a long, long time. I used to try and help people that were strung out on alcohol. What a shitty job that is. They're all screwed up and they don't want help, and you can't help them. They're drunk, and so hopefully you plant a seed and it'll sprout, and they will get sober, find sobriety, because it is a good life. My mother used to ask me, why can't you just have 1 or 2 beers? And I don't understand. I said, and you never will understand. Now, I got along with my mother real well, but I said, you never will understand. And for the social drinkers, they will never understand alcoholism. It's something, if you're not born with it, or you're not an alcoholic, you can't understand it. I remember my mom saying, I said, what's fun for you? She goes, oh, I'd love to go out on a picnic, and take some food and some friends, and, I said, no booze? She goes, no, I don't. I said, that ain't no fun for me. Everything I did revolved around alcohol. I don't care where I went. It had to be some alcohol involved there, or I don't want to go. Now, when you first get sober, or attempt to get sober, a lot of people don't just go to AA and get sober for the rest of their life. It's a little bit of a battle in the beginning, because you got to learn how to be sober. You got to learn sobriety, how to be, sober. As I said, there's a book. In AA, they have what's called the Big Book. They have a book all torn up, and still have it. I don't ever read it anymore, but I have read it. But this is called Living Sober. It's not the big book. In AA, they have a blue book, and you'll get one of those if you go to a meeting. But I think they actually sell them, or they'll give you one. But this little Living Sober book is a great little book. There's one thing I remember in here. One very important thing to me was, it says, what do you do when you go into a wedding? You got a wedding to go to, and you're thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? Well, here's what you do. When you walk in there, the first thing you do is go to the bar and get a glass of something in your hand. I found that when I used to play in the bars, I got soda with a splash of Coke, because it looked like a or looked like a whiskey and water or whatever, but that's what I always had one in my hand, because if you don't, people are going to say, hey, well, are you drinking? Where's your drink? And I don't need that. I'm not going to sit there and tell them, oh, I'm an alcoholic, I can't drink and all that. You can't drink ever again? Well, I learned the answer to that one, and I still use it. People say, you mean you're never going to drink again? No, I might get screwed up out of my brains tomorrow. There's a good chance I might, and I'll tell you that too. I might get drunk tomorrow, but not today. Today I will stay sober, and that goes back to one day at a time. And you'd be surprised how fast those days turn into weeks, months, and years, and decades for some people. I know people, the meetings, remember one guy, this was 10 years ago, he had 44 years of sobriety. Can you believe that? Bless him. God bless him. But I'll wind this up here. A lot of other things I probably need to say. There's got to be more of these videos on this, so check back and check out the titles of them, and look for something that has to do with alcoholism, and maybe you'll get there. The one other thing I was going to say has already left my mind, so I don't know what it was. So I guess I'll probably just sign off and wish you the best. And to find meetings, there's, like I say, there's meetings all over your town in different rooms. So they have them in schools, fire station basements, in any place. There's always meetings, and there's always several meetings in different locations. And so you go to one, you look at the people, you might like those people, maybe you don't like them, which is stupid because they're just like you. But for some reason you're a little uncomfortable. Go to another place and you'll find places that you like. Hey, these people are cool. They're like me. Maybe they're younger, they're older, or whatever it may be. But people from all walks of life are in there, of course, too. You had They always say, oh, there's doctors and lawyers in there, and dumpster drunks, you know, and that's true. There's people from every walk of life, and they stick to different rooms. Some of them are, that's what they call meeting places. They call them rooms. A lot of knowledge in these rooms, and it's true, there is a lot of knowledge there to be learned. So I guess anything else I can think of before I wrap this up? Gosh, there's so much to say. All I can tell you is it's a good life. It gets better and better and better. There's not a day that goes by that I'm not grateful for my sobriety and for my soul. You know, I don't want to talk religion to you or God, because that's not a good thing to get into for somebody who's trying to get sober. To them, there's a God. Why'd they do this to me? Make me a drunk. And we all understand that in AA. We understand where you're coming from. So they're not going to shove God down your throat, but they will tell you to believe in a higher power, something more powerful than yourself that can help you get sober. And you have to find a higher power. You got to believe in something. I've heard one guy said that my pack of cigarettes is my higher power. One guy said it was a doorknob. Yeah, it's like, okay. But whatever works for you. But eventually you'll find out that, well, I just try and take care of my soul now, you know, because the world is, I think, come in the end times, you think what you want. I mean, look around you. The pages are jumping right out of the Bible at us, you know, the things that are happening, and I think time is short. I want to be ready. If there is life after death, and I believe there is, I want to go there. I want that eternal life, and it's supposed to be really, really good. Paradise. Otherwise you go nowhere. Or hell. If you believe in heaven, you got to believe in hell too, I guess. And it does say in the Bible, a drunkard will never see the gates of heaven, or something similar to those words. So get sober, get your soul together. Do a little prepping too while you're out there. Get ready for this crises that are coming. They're already happening around the world. What a mess. We sure have messed up this planet. God made such a beautiful planet for us, and we humans have just about destroyed it. It'd probably be better off without us for a while. Let it heal itself, and it may happen. So anyway, I'm going to say goodbye, and I wish you the best. And get down on your knees and say a prayer if your knees work well enough, and ask for help. You know, pray to the doorknob if you have to, but believe in something bigger than yourself can help you. You can't do it alone. There's no way you can beat alcoholism by yourself. You just can't do it. You got to believe in something else. You got to live and let go. So anyway, I'll see you. My name's Cal Schuyler. I got a couple other videos on YouTube. Please subscribe and like. I probably got like 15 subscribers. I just started YouTube. It's a hobby for me. Like I say, with my health, I can't do a whole lot, but I can do this. And I need subscribers. I'd love to get to that 1,000 where I could just turn on a camera and upload it instantly. See, I got to go in and put this in the computer and edit it. Not edit it. I got to do a little editing. So that 1,000 subscribers would be a big thing for me. And not financially. I think it probably, I don't know. You don't make nothing unless you're somebody that's got 1 million subscribers or something. So I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for something to do, and I'm doing it to help you. And it's nice to be able to do it through a camera lens rather than sit there and listen to you talk back. But, Yeah, I say that, but take the cotton out of your ears and put it in your mouth and shut up and listen and learn. And hopefully you'll get sober. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.